Hey guys, welcome to the Wadcast podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Ift. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the show. If you're a regular listener, thanks for supporting. Thanks for listening. Guys, it's a crazy times. I don't want to get into it. We talk about it on the show today. I was going to have a regularly planned episode. Then things got a little crazy. I decided I wasn't going to do an episode. I had already recorded an episode. It got really weird. And then I saw a posting on Morning Chalk Up with Elijah Muhammad, and I thought, here's a great representative of the black community. I think in these times that, everyone, everywhere, whatever your field, whatever your podcast, whatever you're into, it should be talked about, it should be discussed, and maybe, listened to. I'm not going to break down any doors. I'm not going to change the world, but I can add my little part and try to do what I can do. So this is a two-parter. We have two guests today. One is from a company that I absolutely love, a company called MacroStacks. That we do ads for them, and that's how I got to know them. I found them online and was like, this is awesome. This has helped me so much with my diet. And then I found out that the owner of it was a badass CrossFit athlete, Lindsey Jenks, who was a regional athlete. She's just all out awesome, and created this amazing platform that you guys should all look into. And also, like I said, Elijah Muhammad, who we've all known for years, multiple CrossFit Games athlete, just an amazing athlete, and a really good person, good father, good parent, good coach, good everything, and we all know that CrossFit is mostly a white endeavor. You don't see many people from the black community in CrossFit, and why that is, we don't even discuss, but maybe it is something that should be discussed. And maybe CrossFit as a whole could be more welcome to the black community. Anyway, we talk about a lot of stuff. I try to not talk, but you know me, I can't shut up. I wish I could, but I listen a lot. And I hope you listen, and I hope we all get something out of it. I want to thank you guys, though. This show is, for me, it's a labor of love. I get to do this and have these amazing conversations with amazing people that are pretty elite in whatever they do. And I learn a lot. I hope you learn a lot. And, it's pretty narcissistic of me to think, oh, you know what? Everybody wants to listen to me. It's all I know how to do. And I'm just hoping I entertain you guys. I hope you enjoy what I do. I also wanted to give a shout out to Scott McGee, who is a police officer who right now is working during these trying times. This isn't easy for anybody. And I text Scott to check on him and see how he's doing. And because I know Scott, and Scott's got a big giant heart. And I know Scott doesn't want to be in this situation right now. So Scott has been there for a lot of you guys. He does a great podcast called The Sisu Way. And I just know that, like I said, nobody wants to be in the situation they're in right now. And nobody in this country. I don't think anybody's enjoying this. So just a little shout out to Scott. And there were some videos posted of him online, and I think in the news, of Scott hugging some guys at the protests. So, in all his battle gear and everything. So I know Scott. I know he's got a great heart, and he did a great job while he was here with the show, and I just wish him well. I don't want to get too into it. I off air I might express my political attitudes, but I don't want to piss too many people off. I don't. And I also don't know how I feel a lot of times. I vacillate. I sometimes have one opinion, then somebody tells me something. I'm like, wow, that changes everything. I'm really a moderate person. I go back and forth. So I try not to upset people. I think this is going to sound kind of fucking hokey, but life's about love, and we're only here for a short time. Try to be happy, make people happy, enjoy life, and hurt as little people as you possibly can, and try to make life better for as many people as you can. So I wish we could all do that. And I hope you're all well. I hope everybody's safe. And thank you guys for listening. Thanks for supporting the show. I don't really know what else to say. I could talk to you about Myopucks and Leopard Claw, and they're great. They're a great company. They've supported me all along, and it's just awesome. My neighbor across the street's got a bad back, and I was like, I got to get you a Myopucks. He's in so much pain. I'm like, hold on. I got to get you a Myopucks. They're electronic stimulators, and they pump the blood out of your body, the bad blood, the stuff into your lymphatic system, and they kind of expedite the inflammatory process. So I love them. I think they're great. And then the Leopard Claw, I use it all the time. It's been helping me with my elbow issues. My elbow's getting better thanks to it. Leopard Claw is great. And, they've just sponsored me all along. And if you donate $5 on our Patreon, there's a good chance you'll win one, because we give one every week to someone that's donated. And I'll announce that later today, the winner of the Leopard Claw and the Myopucks. I also want to thank and give a shout out to all my sponsors, everybody who sponsors the show that keeps it going. These are tough times. I'm a stand-up comedian for a living. Have not done a show in 3 months. Don't know how long I can do it. Don't know how long I can go. I've talked to a lot of clubs who are like, hey, we're trying to get back. We're going to be only 25% full. I got to fly around all over the world. 25% full is pretty difficult. So this show is supported by sponsors, and it's supported by you guys. So if you give to if you enjoy the show, please give to the Patreon. It's patreon.com/wadcast or wadcastpodcast.com/Patreon. And if you don't have any money to give, because a lot of you it's tough times and you don't have money to pay, I understand completely. And if you don't have money to give a little bit of your time, just a few minutes to go on iTunes and post a review. Post a review, give us 5 stars. It really helps the show. Other than that, I usually promote my shows. I don't have any. I do stuff on Instagram if you want to see it, at Eddie Ift. I've got doing a couple series. I do one where I do stand up at home, and I do one where I do stories to my kid. All I know how to do is talk. So I tell my 11-month-old son now. He's 11 months almost in like a week. He walked this week. It was pretty cool. I tell him stories. And I'm headed to North Carolina, though. Driving across country with my wife. I'd stop in at all your gyms, but everybody's closed. We're going, I think, Utah, Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, down to Tennessee, to North Carolina. I think that's the route we're taking. We're going to be camping the whole way. I'll film a lot of it. It's going to be crazy. I'm taking 2 little children across the country in my truck. This is going to be awesome. But you guys, again, thanks. I can't express my thanks enough. This show, when Armin and Scott left the show, we were thinking about stopping the show, and then just too many people wrote too many nice things, and I was like, I got to keep this thing going. I enjoy it very much. I hope all of you are safe. I hope all of you are, your gyms are going to be able to open soon. Everybody's going to be able to work out together. I want all this shit to be over. I want everybody to be happy, and I just want to remind everybody, again, I don't want to sound hokey, but united we stand, divided we fall. And a lot of people are really negative and think the country's falling apart right now. And, oh, my God, this is happening and that's happening. It is. It is. Because we've been divided. So let's all try to come back together and have common goals, common ideals, and try to, make this shit work. That's my little 2 cents worth for today. This is the weirdest opening I've ever done. Not one bit of it was funny. Fuck, what is wrong with me? I don't know why I'm getting all sentimental. Weird. I think it's because it's a deep episode. And I came in from it And I said to my wife, she said, how'd it go? And I said, I didn't know what to say. I really don't know what to say right now. And I want to do the right thing. I want to do what's right. And I just wish I knew. I wish there was a plan, like a program that you could follow and it told you everything to do. So I just hope I'm making the right decisions and doing the right things. And I hope you guys are too. But with no further ado, I guess, well, let me see. I might have a sponsor to talk to you about. What am I doing? I was going to keep the show going, and you would have been like, holy shit, he didn't even talk about his sponsors who support the show and make this whole thing happen. And I can't wait to talk about one of them today because I got to talk about ET80 later today because it's just, you know what? Every sponsor today is doing something special. So I'll talk about them later in the show. All right. Okay. Just let's get the show rolling. Let's start the show with my man. What a good dude. Just an awesome dude, awesome CrossFitter, awesome parent. I've said it all. Elijah Muhammad, ladies and gentlemen. Elijah Muhammad. Look at you. Look at what you're eating right now. A top CrossFit athlete, and you're eating, what is that, chicken fingers and waffle fries?
Chick-fil-A, man. My kids said they want Chick-fil-A. We go to Chick-fil-A, man.
That is unbelievable. I love you guys, all you top athletes. CrossFit sings, these praises of eating and eating healthy and everything we do. And all you top guys, you don't do it at all.
To an extent, we do. To an extent, we try to. My wife, she cooks very well. And she preps really good. She cooks very good meals throughout the day. But sometimes you're with the kids, and they say, "Let's get pizza or Chick-fil-A," and I'm like, "Let's get both."
Do you eat a ton of calories?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you have to.
If I could, I would eat a pizza a day.
See, I'm one of those weird people that doesn't like pizza. I think it's okay. But
what?
No, like I'd go, if you said to me, eat anything you want, I'd have like 2 Philly cheesesteaks every day.
Oh, okay.
Do you ever have a real Philly cheesesteak, like right out of Philadelphia?
When I went to Philly, I went and got one just because I was in Philly.
Where'd you go? Pat's, Geno's, Jim's?
I can't remember. Somebody took me.
It's the best food in the whole world, I think. Like that's my Green Mile meal. But thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Well, you're I don't know what you're in the middle of right now. Looks like you.
That is an Arnold Palmer.
One of the best drinks ever made. I grew up near where Latrobe, where Arnold Palmer's from.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so it was like a popular drink back then. They called it an Arnold Palmer, and it was just lemonade and iced tea, nothing better.
Yeah, man. I never knew about it until I moved to Alabama.
Yeah, because the lemonade, I always think lemonade's too strong, and iced tea's too weak, so the combination is just perfect.
I'm the same way. That's awesome.
It's the most amazing drink.
I always tell my wife, I'm like, man, lemonade is just like
too sweet.
It's aggressive, man.
Well, the reason I've always wanted to have you on the show. We just never had you out in L.A. But you were one of those guys that I saw from the beginning. That I guess you started out. You played what, basketball at Tennessee Tech?
Yeah, I played basketball there for 2 years.
And is that how you met Rich?
I actually became a strength and conditioning coach. And then my strength coach was a CrossFit guy. And he brought me on as a strength coach for men's basketball. And then Rich came on. And he was like, I had already knew who Rich was. Like, I knew his name, and I could put a face with who he was. Mm-hmm. Because we saw him at, like, sectionals. So once I became a strength coach, he came on board. I already knew who he was and kind of knew how good he was, and that's how just the whole relationship started, where he was like, just train with him.
So you were already into CrossFit before Tennessee Tech, kind of.
I wouldn't say into CrossFit. I was like, I got into it because of my strength coach.
Right.
And that was like right when I graduated from college. I was like literally,
okay.
I graduated from college, and the next month he took me to a sectional.
Wow. So where was home? Where did you grow up?
Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. I thought you were a Tennessee guy. And so you were recruited to play at Tennessee Tech?
I first went to a junior college in South Suburban, straight out of high school. And everybody was like, don't go JUCO. You're too smart. You know, you got the grades to go Division I. And I didn't really know what junior college was. I knew the coach that was at the junior college was recruiting me to come to Creighton University. And then he got transferred from assistant coaches to a head coach's job at a junior college. And since I just knew the guy and I've seen the guy recruit me for so long, I was like, whatever. Like, as long as I get the college paid for, I don't really
care
to play basketball.
I almost did the same. I ran track and ended up the only school, because I was the one that wasn't smart enough for college. I had the SATs, but I didn't have the grades. I was a troublemaker. So I ended up almost going to Brevard College in North Carolina, and because they had a really good track program. But then luckily at the last minute, Pitt let me in and just made me sit out my first semester. But
that's what I was not trying to do. I was like, I'm giving y'all 4 years and that's it. If I can't get the degree in 4, I'm out of here, man.
It's nice to get school paid for, though.
That is true.
That was my whole thing was, if I can get money for school, then I'll do this. Because to me, that's what sports was at that point. Because I wanted to have fun. And I'm like, well, this is work. In college, doing track felt like work.
Yeah, for sure.
But I used to joke about CrossFitters, how there were I used to joke there were no athletes in CrossFit. There was.
I still do.
That it's all just gym rats. And I was like, when the athletes get in, watch out.
I said, listen. CrossFit is full of a whole bunch of gym rats and bench players that weren't good enough to play, so used to excel in the weight room, and then CrossFit came along.
Yeah. And all of a sudden they had a sport that they, where
you're
going to move from this exercise to this exercise to this exercise.
Yeah, I used to give CrossFit a hard time before I started, but as I got into it, I realized how hard it was and how fun it could be. So
yeah, are you now you own a gym in Iowa, right?
Yep, CrossFit Unorthodox.
How are you guys handling all this stuff that's going on with the pandemic and closing down? And you okay?
We didn't lose any members through the close down, which was awesome. We have a very, very small core group, so don't get me wrong, it's not like we got 100 and something members. We have a pretty small core group, but we didn't lose any members. And everything was good. We stayed in touch with everybody. Everybody stayed in touch with us. I just think people needed the break. You see them every day. You coach them every day. You're around them every day. They're working out every day. I think people were just glad to be like, I just got a break. And so I would check in on them, but I would leave a lot of people be. Like, hey, if you need me, I'm here. I care about you. Tell me what's going on. But this is your time to get away from everything and just spend time with your family. This is my time to just not have to clock in and just spend time with my family. So I think a lot of people really, really valued that we were just kind of like, if you want to do classes, do the Zoom classes. If not, the workouts, post it in your app. Go in your app, see the workout, do it, don't do it. Spend time stretching, enjoy yourself, and just keeping them updated throughout the weeks and stuff.
Yeah, the family time. I'm on the road. I'm a stand-up comedian for a living, and I travel constantly. And the family time has been unbelievable. I just watched my son walk for the first time 2 days ago.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I would crush me.
Yeah, he's 18. He should have been walking earlier. He's only 11 months old, but it was awesome to be there. And I was like, I could have been on the road and missed this whole thing. Gotcha. And there's just been so much amazing stuff with what's happened with being home. But I just know a lot of CrossFit gyms are struggling. And also, are you still, you're still competing?
Yeah, I was supposed to be competing this year, team. I went team this year with a couple of friends of mine. No real like huge big names, but just a couple people that I value, that I like, and I'm close to. And we were gonna go team. We were in Canada when this whole thing blew up. We were in Canada soon enough to get ready for the Atlas games, and then everything blew up, and I was there for like maybe 20 hours. Woke up, blew up, and then I was like, go back home.
Put your mask on and got on a plane?
That's it.
So has this hampered your training at all?
No, I have pretty much everything in my garage at home. I have a gym, so I can always get to the gym and train. My wife actually would not let me go to the gym for the 2 months of COVID.
Isn't it funny? Women are like they're like the bosses in this whole COVID thing. Like everything I want to do, I've got to seek approval from my wife.
Oh man, I'm like, babe, I haven't done ring muscle ups or bar muscle ups in a couple weeks now. Like I need to. Like, these are the things I need to be working on. I need to get to the gym. And she's like, oh, you just got to figure it out here. Like, no one's going in the gym. And I'm like, we own it. It's my gym. Only I'm going to be there. Like, she's like, no, regulations are regulations. Rules are rules. And I'm like, all right. So I just suited up to try to get everything at home so I can do as much at home as possible.
Yeah, that's how my wife is. I'm like, I want to go. She's like, nope, you're not going over there. I'm like, but we're going to be 20 feet away from. Nope, I don't trust you. You cannot go.
Yeah, man. She was shutting me down, and she was not playing.
Well, interesting. Like I said, I've always wanted to get you on the show. We used to always do the show in LA, and we had a rule that we always had to be. We'd either do it at a contest or a competition, or we'd have the person on live, and we'd have to come to LA. So I never got a chance to talk to you. And now that I do it like this, because of the coronavirus, it's awesome because I can talk to so many more people that I wanted to talk to. And then I saw on Morning Chalk Up today, there's some craziness going on right now with what's going on with George Floyd and the riots and the protesting, and I just thought it'd be really good to talk to you because I noticed that you spoke up, and there's a lot of Ryan Flaherty from Nike on last week, and Ryan was talking. I read his post today, and it was just beautiful, talking about, like, as a white person, we don't know what to say, we don't know what to do, and we want to, and we want to do the right thing. Like, we know what's wrong, but we want to know what's right, and so it's a difficult thing. So I noticed you talked, and I'd love to hear from you, especially in dealing, like, the CrossFit community is an amazing community. And is it? I don't know. Has it been amazing for you? Is it for the black community? Is it out there? Because I don't want to stir shit up, but excuse me. You got children in the car. But
I got my headphones in. You're good.
Okay, but I noticed on my feed everybody was posting on Tuesday the blackout, and then I went over to my Wadcast page and I didn't see it. It didn't exist like I did. I live in liberal Hollywood and everybody's like this. But I noticed over in the CrossFit world, everybody's just posting, look at me lifting. Here I am. Look, I just PR'd. I'm climbing this. I'm climbing that. I just did this workout. I did that workout. And I didn't see it as much. And I wondered if maybe it's because I'm on the left coast and maybe middle of America where you are, it's not the same.
Nah, man, I saw a lot of CrossFitters post it. When it first happened, nobody really posted, myself included. I was kind of trying to put everything together. Me and my wife were kind of devastated that this had happened again. And, in the past when things have happened, we were like, do we say something? And, my wife always kind of held me back. She just knows how I am. Like, I'm a rebel when it comes to certain things. It's like, I'm gonna tell you how I feel. Like whether it's I'm feeling hurt and I'm sad, or whether I'm upset and I'm mad. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. And we would kind of just say like, oh man, like you don't want to get into anybody on social media, babe. You don't want this, you don't want that. So we were just kind of like to ourselves. But then we go back into our space of CrossFit, and it's like, crap, it's nothing but white people. It's nothing but white people that don't see what we are seeing. And so when it all happened, I just told myself, I sat down with my wife and I told my wife, like, I'm going to say something. I don't really care how it comes out. I gotta say something. And so when I said something and spoke up, and hopefully to educate and get what's going on out to people, and then you see the response is just people kind of just doing their regular daily life stuff. It kind of makes you more and more enraged and angered and upset because you're like, are y'all not seeing this? Is no one not wanting to address this? But then you think about it and you're like, there are white privileged people where they don't have to see it if they don't want to see it. And once the black screens hit, I felt like that was the time where it had settled in what had happened. Everyone had got a good grasp of the information of what is going on, and everybody jumped on board. And I've seen a lot of CrossFit games and CrossFit athletes posting the black square, which just basically say, hey, we're fighting for justice, which was really cool. At the same time, it's kind of trending. It's like, this is the trending topic on social media. Let me jump on board, because if I don't have the black square on my page, then so I felt like people were doing it, but regardless of whatever they were doing, it's like they made the move to do it. So now it's just how people are going to start speaking up about how they actually feel, of what they're seeing, what they're hearing, what's going on in the country.
I'm losing you a little bit, and this is a really important conversation. Maybe it's a little better now. Yeah, I can hear you a little better now. I think there is, and I know from my own perspective, there is ignorance on our part, and there is this blindness that I know a lot of people have. I'm not going to claim to be more woke than anyone else or knowing there's a fear among white people of saying the wrong thing, of doing the wrong thing, of being inactive, but I think there's a willingness now, at least now, and that's why I think this is working, that people want to open up, they want to see, they want to know, they want to. I said to somebody said to me the other day, how's any of this ever work, this protesting? I said, look at the Me Too movement. I go, they shook a lot of people up. Like, men are going to think twice about the things they say to a woman, about the things they do to a woman, about the way they treat a woman. I go,
I'm glad you used that. They're going to do that because these men were incarcerated. They were put in jail. Like, the people that committed the crime, they were detained and prosecuted immediately. It was like, you know what I'm saying? It was not a joke. So it's like, that's what we're trying to get now for the black community. So that's why you protest. That's why you do these things. It became something else because it wasn't happening.
I get you're
breaking up.
No, you're frozen a little bit. Yeah, now you're back. Don't worry, I can edit out any of the frozen parts. So we'll get right back on. You're good. I keep going though, because I do want to hear this.
Yeah, I was saying, like, in that movement, like, the reason why they did what they did and everybody came out and started speaking up is so they could shake up the system. And once it happened, the system said, okay, we got to take these people, we got to put them in handcuffs, we got to lock them up for the injustice they have done, for the crimes they have committed. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're doing, essentially. It's just that. It's like,
looking for an equality of justice, and
yeah.
I think I watched what happened to the kid in, I forget what state it was. Was it where the kid was running through the neighborhood and the guys chased him down? That happened like 2 weeks ago, or two I don't know, like a month ago. And the fact that didn't start this is it should have started, like, America should have woke up then. These guys got on a truck and hunted a guy down, chased him down, and then shot him in the street in America. The most prosperous country in the world with a judicial system and all these things that we're supposed to be. The the two men could hunt a man down and kill him. Like that's savage. That shouldn't happen in 2020. That shouldn't happen ever. But the fact that it happened now, I couldn't believe that it took then this. And I don't know. It's a tough time for everybody, but I think it's a great awakening. And I think it's really, really, like we all do. You lived in Tennessee. You've probably seen, more than anybody, a fair share of racism. And I'm amazed at the reaction I've seen by people that I would tend to believe are a bit on the racist side, where it's like all of a sudden they're going, hey, this is crazy what's going on. Like these police were, and I'm like, yeah, finally. Is this what it took? Did it take you to be in fear? Did it take you to be afraid of society? Like all of a sudden, oh my God, so society's falling apart. And I don't know. It's just, I don't want to say like I have any experience that's different than anyone else, but when I ran track, I was the only white kid on the team. So I was the only one in the room, and I had that feeling of like, not that it's anything that you feel, nothing, because I still have, being white, have a different lifestyle and a different culture and a different upbringing. But all of a sudden I went, whoa, this is, wow, holy smokes, like to feel like this. And I'm still, I have all this, and I don't want to say, but I have this privilege. I have this white privilege of never having to be afraid, like never having, imagine. And so I think a lot of it is the shoe's never been on the other foot. And like you said, like people don't understand that you walk into a CrossFit, it's a total white world. CrossFit's 95% white, probably.
Like I remember being in college and going to the white frat party houses, and the police come into the house, and them just being like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like, "Yeah, fuck off!" Like they're just talking to them in a tone where I'm like, "Shit!" Like y'all about to get yourself shot. That's what I'm thinking. Like y'all about to get, like they about to fuck y'all up, and nothing would ever happen. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I talk to the police like that. Like, I'm just asking for them to try to kill me. Like I already know the deal. Like police walk in the door, like I would see them like exercising their privilege and not really processing that they don't even know they have that privilege, but they have it. Where they walk, police come in, it's like, hey, party's over, what's going on? And like you see every black kid put their drink down, stand up, get in a position where it's like, I'm not doing it. You just see it, and it's just like they still drinking and like get off our property. This is our house, and like it's like what? Like, and you don't process these things until you get in a situation like this. You start thinking back, and you're like, damn, like that white privilege stuff is for real. Because because they were talking crazy, I was terrified. It's like, I'm not saying anything. Why should I get in trouble? But you're just like, man, I'm about to exit out of here because I don't want to be part of none of this that's about to happen in here. Like, but it's real, and people act like it's not there. And it's like, it is there. And it's there very, very vivid for black people. We see it very, very vivid, and we understand it. And it's sad because this is supposed to be the land of the free. But it's like, why do I not feel free? Like, why do I still feel like I have to be politically correct? Because if I say something, whoa, slow it down. Why did you do that? I'm sorry. It's like driving with like a house on it, and he just like shifts 4 lanes. Oh, he blew a tire. Oh, all right, but like I don't know that feeling of like, why should I have to do this? And in the CrossFit space, it's the same feeling. Don't get me wrong. Like, because of CrossFit, because of what we're doing, everyone is welcome. And like I tell people all the time, like I travel the world teaching weightlifting seminars, but everyone is there to see me. Like they want to see me, so you feel welcome. Like there's no You know what I'm saying? There's no like feeling of like, oh man, like what's going to happen? But it's just that little thing where you're like, I got never white people here. And you know, like it's just that little thing where it's like, hey, not one black person here. Like I'm the only one. Like, but you don't feel any kind of way because everybody's there to see you. They're a fan of you. They want to support you, and I think that's why I've been getting so much good feedback on social media. Like opening up so many eyes and people taking it so well to be like, yo, like I get it now. Like I get it. I opened up my car. I got your car. And it's been great. It's been like amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's been draining, but it's been amazing because people are fans and they want to support you in any way they can. Along with now they actually see what you've been dealing with.
Yeah. Now they know
what you've been dealing with. You know.
Now they know.
Of course.
Because I'll be honest, I don't think it ever occurred to them what you're experiencing, and I know from my experience of being the only white one in the room that I was like, oh my God. And now I had to look at you or anyone like you and go, oh, they've always experienced this. Being a minority, being, you know, such a small percentage of the population and being in white America, they went through that every single day of their life. Here I, you know, was going through it in my college years and I walked in with this kind of fear. And then, you know, my friends on the team would tell me they had the same fear. They're like, what do you think we have? And I'm like, yeah. What? You're scared? Why? And they're like, why? What are you, a moron? And I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm a moron. Everybody knows I'm a moron. But, like, I didn't know this. And I think there's a lot of ignorance out there. There's a ton, and there's more ignorance than anybody can ever imagine. And it's because the shoe's never been on the other foot.
I now get a better grasp through having these conversations at why you see young black kids that seem mature.
Tell me why.
Like, because they have to grow up faster. Period. Because like they have to learn how to move in a different way. Like I was sitting down thinking, and I'm like, their innocence is like, I'll just dig into an example. You got a kid. He's a white kid. He's privileged. He gets to go whatever school he wants to. He lives in a decent area, or he doesn't live in a decent area. He lives in a pretty bad area, but because of the skin color, and that's solely it, because of the skin color, he gets an opportunity to better himself, to do something else. He works hard. He gives all the effort he can, but systematically, he is learning his position in the world. As a kid, he's seeing it. Everything. He turns on TV, it's white. When he talks to a judge, it's white. When he talks to a lawyer, they're white. When he talks to a boss, probably white. Everything in his circle is telling him, putting him in a position that I have power through the skin of my color. And I can move, and I can talk, and I can speak freely. Simply because I'm white. You take a black kid. He grows up in the same bad neighborhood. He works hard. And he's slightly denied in certain areas because of his color. Not only is he slightly denied, but he has to really, really watch the way he talks and how he talks because of the image that's been put on him by our country. So therefore, he is less fortunate just because of the skin of his color, of what he can achieve, what he can do, where he's going to go. And I was sitting down reading about it, the Brown Board of Education, the doll experiment. Mm-hmm. I was sitting down reading about it, and it plays a huge factor into your self-esteem of what you think you're capable of. And so I sat down and I thought about it. I was like, man, like when we were young, like I remember, like when I see kids, like white kids at the age where I was at, like I was sitting down thinking, like, man, we were like at home by ourselves. We knew how to cook. We knew not to go out the house. We knew certain protocols of what to do and what not to do. Like we didn't have to rely on mom and dad. We didn't have to rely on our parents at all. It was like Like, these are the protocols. This is what we do. This is how we handle things. And so I see white kids, and it's just kind of like they have their innocence. They get to play and enjoy fun, and mom and dad can take them wherever they want. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm in two totally different demographics now. Like, what I mean by that is, like, the kids that I'm seeing are well off. Their parents have did what they needed to do to put their kids in the position that they can do that. But it's just like, man, like, the way you talk to your parents, it's kind of like, what? Like, come on, man. Like, you don't talk to mom like that. You be smacked in the mouth. But it's like, oh, you're exercising your right to privilege. Your parents give you that privilege. And that privilege carries on into life of what you feel like you can say and do with no reparations. And so it's just a lot of things that I've been sitting down, putting together and thinking of, like, and it's like, man, it all makes sense. It's like the system did not play in our favor, and it does not play in our favor. So therefore, you take like at 10 years old, I knew how to catch the bus from my middle school to home, to downtown, to wherever I need to go. I was at 10 years old. I can catch public transportation and move around the city however I needed to. I knew what times the bus came, what time the bus shut off. Like, and it was like, I can imagine taking one of the 10-year-old white kids that I know now and trying to get them to even grasp the concept of you have to be alone on this bus out in public by yourself. They're like, oh man, where's mom? Like, Mom, I need a ride. Like, well, I'm not.
That also might be a product of society now in general, because we're all helicopter parents and we all try to keep our children as safe as possible. And
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we're not, you know, I had the school bus. I had my parents. My dad, if I missed the bus, he'd go, get out of the house. And I'd go, what? He'd go, walk to school right now. Like, there was a lot of that. And I'm not saying my experience was any different than yours. But I don't deny there's any that there is not systematic racism in this country, and it's a cycle that we need to figure out as a whole country to stop. I just learned myself. I never knew about redlining, and I learned that in that little video that's been going around. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this goes on?"
I just found that out myself. I literally found that out myself. That was new to me.
And when I started reading about it, I had to look it up, and I went, how do you expect a group of people to come out from under this? You're literally handcuffing them as a culture and not allowing them to move forward. And you wonder why you have problems, like when people start spouting out crime statistics and going blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you don't get it. Like, I'm so sick of hearing people try to use statistics in their favor. You can't use statistics right now because of the cultural ways that things have been created. Like, I just had a long talk with a friend today, and he just kept spouting statistics, and I said, you can't use statistics right now because of things like when you talk about redlining, when you talk about incarceration rates, when you talk about segregation, when you talk about slavery, when you talk about these things, it's things that I'm so glad like movies like 13 were made, and I just that little video, like everybody being educated. I never knew about that redline thing. That blew my mind.
Me either. When I found that out, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you kind of know, it's like, you know, in the back of your mind through, you know, poverty-stricken areas, ghettos, projects, like stuff like that. Like, you kind of know, but it's like y'all systematically planned this out. Like, this was, like, you know, like, you kind of see it, but it's like when you watch those videos and you start to get that information. Like, when I got that information, I was like disgusted because I was just kind of like, oh, I see. Like, it's not like we just chose this. It's like, this is what they did to make sure we couldn't, you know, live in certain areas or be in certain areas and stuff like that. So yeah, that really kind of, that kind of hurt, man. I'm not gonna lie. When I watched that, I was like,
well, I'll tell you this. So my mother worked in the real estate world, and she was in real estate sales. And at a certain point, they passed a law where they said, when people were buying a house, that you couldn't say, you couldn't tell them the demographics of the school district that they were moving into. Like, people would want to know because they were like, how many, how many white people are here? How many Hispanics? How many blacks? How many? They would want to know, and that they made that illegal because that's racist to say. Oh, it's 30, 20% black here, 30% black here. So they started saying with like a wink it's a good school district, saying like it's a white school district. And people can jump all over me for saying like, blah, blah, blah. That's racist. That's racist right there, to say it's a school district. I'm not saying I haven't done anything racist. I think we all have done racist things in our lives, every single one of us. But that is part of the culture moving forward in a racist way, to give the little wink wink, hey, it's a good school district. And then the whole school districting thing, the way the property taxes go, and that's, you know, socioeconomic. It could be a socioeconomic thing, but I don't know. I'm open. I've been in a really fortunate place to be in the comedy world, where we don't care what color you are. Like when I grew up, I liked Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby, Cheech and Chong, Joan Rivers, Lily Tomlin, Steve Martin. I didn't care what sex they were, what race they were. If they were funny, that's all that mattered.
Yeah, and but I mean, in your respect of what you do, man, it's like you can take a really, really tough situation and bring people together, you know, on at tough times. You know, that's why comedy is so amazing of what it is, because it's like it brings people together. Like laughter brings people together. Like you can have a room of black and whites, and no matter what the joke is, people will find a way to laugh in unison at it. And so that's a cool profession to be in, man, just to have.
Well, the comedians that I worked with, like coming up, I came up with the Comedy Cellar in New York City, and our table became a TV show. They made the show called Tough Crowd, and it was just like black guys, white guys, Keith Robinson and Patrice O'Neill and Greg Giraldo and all these guys just sitting around just ripping each other apart. And we would get on the deepest, darkest issues you could discuss, and it was the greatest thing in the world, because it was. That's why I feel like comedians, a lot of them are more open to this, because we talked it out. We talked it out, and they would tell you stories. I mean, I'll never forget one time I had Dave Chappelle and Tony Woods over at my apartment, and we were maybe doing we weren't supposed to be doing, but we like they were leaving, and I think it was Tony said to me, he goes, "Hey man, go down and get me a cab." And I was new to New York City. I had grown up in Pittsburgh, and I really was unaware of this. And I thought he was just because I was a younger comic, like a starting out comic, he was like picking on me and hazing me.
Because you were white, and they would stop.
Yeah. And I didn't get it. And I went, what? And he goes, go get me a taxi. And I went, don't tell me what to do. And then he looked at me, and he gave me this look that I'll never forget. And he goes, come on, man. And I went, oh, he can't get a taxi. And I was like, oh my God, does anybody know this? Like, do people know that, like, this is what they're experiencing? And I'll tell you a funny story about it. On Opie and Anthony radio show one time, they did an experiment. Patrice O'Neill, the famous comedian who passed away, they took Patrice down in the street, and they dressed a guy up like Hitler, a white guy dressed like Hitler. And they put Patrice and the white guy dressed as Hitler in the street, both hailing taxis. And the white guy was hailing the taxi like Sig Heiling. And the taxi would go past Patrice to pick up Hitler.
Oh, my God.
And then Hitler would get in and then wait, and then Patrice would jump in the taxi with him and just berate the taxi driver.
Oh, my goodness.
And he would go, that's funny. You picked up Hitler. Hitler. You saw Hitler, and you drove past me to get Hitler. And, you know, so there's just, I feel like we all need to walk in each other's shoes and experience a little more of this. And I'm hoping, I try to be an optimist and think that, like, this is a good start to something, rather than think it's the collapse of society or this protesting is getting dangerous. You know, I heard a woman speak on my favorite podcast the other night, and she said, it was a black woman, and she said, we tried to protest peacefully. We knelt down. You got mad at us at sporting events. She's like, Martin Luther King, it was peaceful, and you shot him. Like, what do you want us to do? How can we make change?
Man, come to find out, speaking of that, someone told me that Martin Luther King didn't die from the bullet wound that shot him. someone said what they think happened is someone smothered him in the hospital with his pillow. That was a new information I had never heard before. I don't know how true it is because I haven't looked it up or I haven't tried to research it. But they said he was alive and well at the hospital, and then somebody smothered him, and I was just like, wow, like that really.
Well, I'm hoping that the more educated people get, and the smarter they get, and the more people can hear, and that's why I wanted to talk to you because man. I didn't want to do a podcast this week. I was like, you know what? I don't want to put stuff out there that act like nothing's going on and talk about lifting weights and how fast you can run down the street and back and do pull-ups. Because I feel like it's a disservice to what's going on, and I would like to hear, how people feel, and especially in the CrossFit community, because it's a great community. It's a great community that gets a lot done and does a lot of progressive things. And when I say progressive, I mean to move forward in life and become a better society, especially when it comes to health. But this is health. This is health of society. And if we want to be a better society, we have to treat everyone equally. And so I think just people understanding and knowing what your experiences are and I had Sal Massichello on here telling stories a few years ago about, he grew up in the suburbs of San Diego and still getting like police pulling guns on him and things that happen. And people are like, wow, really? That happens? It's like, you don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough, man. It's rough for the black psyche right now. Like, it's always been this way. And the chain of events that have been happening don't make it any better or make you feel any safer. So
do you feel
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you feel like there's a light at the end of this tunnel at all? Like this could enact change, or are you?
I don't know, man. Honestly, like think about it. I gave one of my friends the example. I said, let's say for instance, me and you are friends, and I come to you and I say, hey, I know we're friends, but I just want to tell you, your great 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 grandfather, my grandfather killed him. Your great-great-grandfather, my grandfather killed him too. And my great-grandfather killed your great-grandfather. And my father killed your father. By the time it gets to you, it's just kind of like, you are traumatized. You are so traumatized to the point where it's like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to accept or forgive this person? And it's a deep-rooted thing in the black community that a lot of people don't speak about, that a lot of people need to actually go talk to somebody and get some help with. And so I think the white community and the way America is made can better it by allowing us to feel safer under the law, with laws, or with reparations that are for black people. That's what I think. Because no matter what you say, because we've had politics and, of course, Democrats that are like, oh, I'm for black people, and then you do nothing for black people. And I don't want to get into politics because I'm not a politician and I don't get into politics, but it's just like we've forgiven and forgiven and forgiven. So how do we actually know that, okay, well, let's forgive again, and we still don't have anything for us? And then it happens again. And then it's like, okay, where do we go? Like, what do we do now? Like, okay, do we burn this place down to the ground? Do we just continue to destroy and destruct because nothing's being actually done? So I can't tell you. I just know if there was like some type of law, bill, act passed, if it was something that made black people feel a little more safer, especially around police, like especially if to make a cop think twice before you get trigger happy or shoot or hurt or harm someone of color, I think that's a huge start. And then we can start getting into the system where the system allows us to have equal opportunity. But, I mean, just people saying like, hey, things will get better. It's just kind of like, will it? Are we supposed to trust it again? Are we supposed to just say, okay? And no, it's like, no, yeah. Keep pushing, keep fighting, keep looting, keep doing whatever you feel is needed in your position until something is actually done for us to make me feel a little bit safer.
Yeah,
So the actual answer to that is, I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know if it's going to get better. I don't know. I just know there are things that the system can do to make it better. They just have to do it. I do know that. I do know there are certain things that the system can do and can implement and can state and can say. I know there are certain bills and acts that I've seen, that I've talked to people about, that I've heard about, that can be passed, that can make you feel a little bit more safer so you can live equally. But, like, you know, like, in my backseat is 3 boys. Like, I'm not going to stop fighting, because at the end of the day, it's for them now.
Yeah.
It's for them to be able to say, you know what? This is what my father fought for. This is what my uncles fought for. This is what my grandparents fought for. And now we got it. I don't want them to say, this is what my parents fought for, and I'm still fighting for it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they know what they can do. I mean, the world knows what it can do. They just have to do it.
Yeah, I think I heard every single thing you said, and I think the children aspect of it is, you know, as you get to be a parent, you just want the world to be a better place for your children. And,
that's it, man.
And you know, I look at my daughter. My wife and I were discussing this, going like, Chris Rock has a joke about racism. He goes, racism's not learned. He goes, they always say children learn to hate, like they're taught to hate. They don't hate when, he goes, you ever been around an infant or like a little kid? They're the most evil kids in the world. You know, like you have to stop them from killing each other. But you know, we've never discussed race in my house. It's just not I've got a 5-year-old daughter, and she goes to school, and we live in a neighborhood it's mostly white, but there are a lot of black families, and we've just never talked about it. We've never had a discussion that there's a difference. And so I've never heard my daughter discuss a difference. She's never referred to a woman or a man as that black person or that the darker skin. It's just Mr. Anthony. He's Mr. Anthony. He's not a black guy. And I think that's part of that is us trying to just not create a difference, to try to create equality. And part of that is just, it's great to see that my daughter believes in equality. I mean, she's a little bit of an evil person, though. Like, my daughter will go, I like her because she's prettier. like you take race out of the issue, she's going to go by, you know, like she ranks people by how good looking they are. I like him, he's cute. I don't like him, he's ugly. So it has nothing to do with skin color. It has to do with like their appearance. But like, I know that doesn't go on then in other places where those children are taught these people are different. We're this, they're that. You also, like you said, the privilege. My daughter doesn't realize that she has privilege. She'll never realize that. I mean, like, it's hard to, and then I've got to teach her that. Like, you're going to get things, and we do, about like your mommy and daddy work hard and love you and want to give you everything. And there's children that don't have that either because of the society they were born into, or their parents aren't capable, or their parents don't you know, there's different reasons. Yeah. So it's a tough thing. And
so here's I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go.
The thing that the privilege isn't so much of you giving them everything they want. They are learning privilege from their social environment, from their economical environment, from their status. They are learning it from social media. They are like how many African American black dolls are in your household? How many Asian dolls are in your household? So therefore, she's learning white only by the toys that she plays with. She's learning white only by the cartoons that she's watching. She's learning white only by the majority of the people that come eat dinner at your house. She's learning white only by the majority of the people at her school. She's learning that all of my teachers are white and white people are teachers. She's like, it's not so much of oh, we don't give her this privilege. It's like your child is the same way a black child is in fear because he's learning that or seeing that my parents act this way, or seeing that my teacher's white. So, white people are teachers, or white people are this, or, oh, all the basketball players are black. So, okay, black people play sports. Like they're being conditioned without you even noticing. So that is the importance of speaking of race and sharing these things with her and speaking about it. And not only that, but just introducing different things into her area that have nothing to do with white.
Mm-hmm.
That she doesn't, like, from a young age when people don't know it, but it's like, yes, my kids are around predominantly white people. So if they're trying to get the point across to something, it's white. It's like, oh, the white girl, like the white one. I don't know her name. I don't know anything else about her. I can't depict it. It was the white one. It's just like, it's the black person. It's like, oh, so now I have a better idea of who you're talking about because so it's like they understand and see it, and it's just a lot of things where it's like we don't think we're conditioning our children a certain way. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. My kids are hardly around a lot of black people. I do CrossFit. I'm predominantly around white people. They hang out with predominantly white kids. They go to school and it's predominantly white. So therefore, I'm in these areas where socially my kids are hanging and being around white people and knowing of their culture. I'm putting them in a position where I have to tell my daughter, like, if anyone says the N-word to you, you don't play that. Like, it's not a game. It's not a joke. It's not okay. Like, but it's because I have them in a place that is predominantly white. And so I have to then reroute and make sure I'm teaching them about their culture and talking to them about their culture and updating them on information, because I don't want if we lived in a black neighborhood, I don't want the first run-in to be a bad one with a white person or a white kid. And you look at it and be conditioned a certain way or think a certain way because this person may have said something wrong to you. So I think the conversations are really good, and even at a young age, those kids are downloading information so fast, so rapidly, at a rate that we can't process anymore.
Yeah.
So therefore, when you cut the TV on and you see a white cartoon, and you see you go to a commercial, and you see a white person, and you watch a movie, and it's, Superman's white, and Iron Man's white, and Captain America's white, and Thor's white, and like, everything you're doing is white. Everything you're seeing is white, and there's no balance of it. I'm gonna condition my kids to say, white is right. Like,
I think the word that you use there that's important is conditioning. That even though we don't address it with my daughter and we don't talk about race with her, that society's conditioning her, that it's going on around her, that there's a conditioning that you don't even realize. This is what I tried to explain to my friend today. You don't realize. You can show me stats, but there is a conditioning that's going on, and that's the part. It's almost like a subtle conditioning that not subtle, but it's going on, and you don't even understand it's happening to you. Listen,
in your household, just like you said, we don't talk about race. You are doing everything you have to do to raise a beautiful child. It's everything around you that you're not paying attention to that is slightly playing a factor on who your child's going to become, what they're going to think, what they're going to believe. That's balancing or swaying your child one way or the other. Like, people always say it all the time, like, you homeschool your kids, or you got your kids at home and you send them to daycare and they get sick. You send them to daycare and they get sick, or you send them to school and they come back with some stuff where you're like, where'd you learn that from? I never taught you that, or I didn't teach you to say that. And it's just, that is what society is doing. So as parents, we're doing everything that we possibly can do. Like, everything. I'm doing everything I can possibly do, and we will never get it right. That is the cool part. That's like the cool part about being a parent, is because you're not going to get it right, but for some reason, and you're so in love with that, of what you created, you are not going to stop trying. You are going to continue to try to figure it out.
Let me tell you this. I just want to give you a compliment. You've done a good job with those kids, because you have 3 boys in your back seat right now.
Yeah.
And none of them have caused trouble yet? We've been talking for 53 minutes. How do you do that? My kids would have ripped the seats apart right now.
So every time we got new phones, we would keep our old phones.
Oh, and give them to them.
And download all their games on them, so all of them have their own phone right now.
I wonder.
Yeah.
But wait, you have 4 kids, right?
Yeah, my daughter's she's actually with my wife at a protest right now.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
how old's your daughter?
Take her. She's 11. She turns 11 tomorrow.
That's great. And then 4 kids, and you still are a competitive CrossFitter. You should get an award for that.
Yeah, man. It's coming to a close. Not because
no one understands how hard it is to work out with a kid. 4 kids.
Yeah,
I have no idea how you do it.
It's been challenging, man. But they listen pretty well. They do pretty good, and they kind of know the routine. Once they settle into a certain routine, they kind of get it. Dad's about to work out. Go watch TV. Give me an hour to get done whatever y'all want to do or game until I got my next session or whatever. And they kind of get it. But there are times where it's like, stop walking in here asking me questions. I'm dying. I'm in the middle of workout and I'm dying. Like, just give me a second, buddy. So there's a little bit of both in there, man, where I'm like, you might just see me I should post it. I've never posted it, but I'll be in the middle of a workout recording myself working out, and I'll just look over and I'll do this. Like, get out now. It's like they keep coming in asking questions. You're dead tired, but that's a part of it, man.
I'm watching you put lotion on, and it's so funny because when I was running track, like I went to high school where there was not a black person in my high school, and I was the only white sprinter on the like when I went to college, I was the only white sprinter. And I remember when I go to track meets in high school, we'd be at the starting line, and guys would be putting lotion on. And I looked over, and I remember one time looking at a guy, I'm like, why do you guys all put lotion on? And one of the guys looks at me, and he goes, it makes you faster. And I had no idea. And I was just I was like, maybe they know something that I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
makes you faster.
it's like divided we fall. And, I don't know. I'm just like, I want to learn from you. I want to learn from everyone. I want everyone to I want to make the world a better place. I want it to be great for my kids, and I want it to be great for your kids, and I want them, that's what I think there's a lot of, I think in this world we have a lot more good people than bad people. And we can't let the bad people bring us down, and they exist, and we just got to overshadow them and try to weed them out and educate them and teach them, and maybe they really aren't. And there's no, like you said, there's no quick solution to this by any means. And hopefully we're on it. Hopefully all of this has created a trend towards towards
equality. Like everyone feeling and being equal, and like just knowing, like, I don't know, man, like I've never, like, I just want to say this, but I've never had a job. Like I've never like had a job. I think I've had 2 jobs. One in high school, of course, because I was like, I got to make some money. I was hired by a close friend and member of ours from our church. I worked in high school, and then when I got out of college, I got a night job. But other than that, like for the past 10 years of my life, right out of college, I had a job for like 8 months to a year, and then it was all CrossFit. I've only been a CrossFit coach, and I sit down and think about it, and I was like, maybe that was my blessing. Like maybe that was God putting me in a position and in a space that I needed to be in for this position, for this time now, and then maybe he was putting me in a position because I've talked to so many friends, and they've been like, gosh, I can't get a job. I can't get a job. And it's like, your name sounds black. And then you read these articles and you read these things, and it's like, you do an application and they see a certain name. It's like, well, how many white Mohammeds you know? Not many. So if I fill out that application, that's a guarantee. Like, we know he's black. Like, so it was just always things like that where I was like, well, maybe I'm in the space that I need to be in, and maybe God put me in this space so I didn't have to, feel that injustice or feel that pain, because I was like, damn, like, after hearing, I'm like, that sucks. But I sat and thought about it. I was like, damn, I never had to really fill out an application. Like, I never really had to, look for a job. And so, the fight is just like, okay, like, I want it to be where that application comes in, and no matter what that name is on it, you get an equal chance to fight for the job due to your qualifications and your hard work of what you've done. And that's what we're fighting for. That's what a lot of people are standing up for, because they're starting to notice and understand these things now, which is amazing, which is great. Better late than never. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm here as a white person to admit, like, I've seen a lot of racism in my life and been around it. I've probably done things, not proud, but have done things, and I try to grow and be a better person and never do it, and just treat everybody equally. And, but I've seen, and if I could wave a magic wand and make it go away and make everything better, I would. But I really hope we're all moving forward. So,
man.
It was great having you on the show.
Thanks,
I think that it's just another avenue of people that listen and can learn and move forward and try to be better people and try to have more of an understanding. I like that people keep saying I talk too much, and people say just listen.
Yeah.
And so
at the end of the day, like, I spent a lot of years listening. Like, remember when I first got into CrossFit space, I was around nothing but white people. I didn't know how to program workouts. I didn't know the stock market. I didn't know much about business related things. I didn't know how to create a gym. I was just a good kid. I was just a good person with a good heart that cared. But it's like, I didn't know about these things. And I sat down with people that made millions of dollars and millionaires and people that had businesses and was running them and flourishing. And I said, I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to listen. How does this work? Like, how are you doing this? How are you building wealth for your family? How are you in a position to where if you don't want to work, you don't got to work. You can sit at home with your kids all day and just raise them and love on them and do things that you truly want to do. And so I had to sit down and I had to just be quiet. I'm going to listen because this is out of my field of expertise. And I just want to learn. And I feel like we have a lot of people doing that now, where they're just like,
yeah,
I just want to listen because this is something that I haven't noticed and I'm not good at and I don't understand. So I'm just trying to be the voice to tell people my experiences, tell people what I've seen throughout the world of my 32 years, and share that with the people so that we can find that common thing where it's like, I now get it. I understand now. I'm rolling with you. All right, you've changed my perspective. I'm rolling with you. And I'm glad we're just having these conversations, man.
Yep, I am too. And I'm like I said, the women's movement, I think, made a big difference in the way men look at women and men treat women. And I'm hoping this can have a big difference in the way we all treat each other. And I look forward to seeing you competing again. Now that you're 32, you're an old man, and you'll be in the Masters in what, the 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, man.
But hopefully they're going to get back to. How'd you do this year competitively?
I'm not an open guy.
Yeah, your team.
I don't ever. No, I'm saying like just general individual. The open. I don't do well in the open ever. I don't think I've ever really done well in the open worldwide. I'm more of a, get me at regionals, get me at a sanctional, get me like hands on, face to face, man to man. It's like I can prevail. I can push a little bit, but that online stuff, I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm pushing, and I feel like I'm giving forth effort, and the numbers just seem to not show it. So I've always wanted to really find out what it was, but I don't know. I just never really cared to get a coach or dive into that. It's just like, well, once we get the regionals, I got you, and once we get to a sanctional, it's like it's game on.
That's probably the competitor in you, and also knowing how to game it, and being the athlete. That seems to me that it's the athlete over the psychopath that's just the gym rat.
Yeah.
But one last question I wonder: why Iowa?
Yeah. My mother-in-law's here.
Okay, that's how it always happens.
Man. Oh, for sure, man, for sure. I was like, man, 4 kids. Man, we gotta get closer. Get closer to the family.
I'm driving from LA to North Carolina on Sunday. to get near our in-laws. Like, so we're going to be at my in-laws because my wife and I have gone crazy with the 2 kids. And we're like, we need help. Man. We need help.
Listen, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I knew, let me not say I can't do this. It wasn't so much the kids. It was the relationship with my wife. It was that we didn't have time to do husband and wife things. We didn't have time to go out and kick it. And we had our first kid in college. So, you know, college, when we had our first kid, it kind of slowed down the party scene, the kicking it scene, the going out scene, you know. So, you know, after that, and then you have 5 years with just one kid, but, you know, you're putting so much time into this one child and trying to mature and grow up. And then you have another one and you're like, man, we missed out on a lot. Let's try to get back to it. But it's like, okay, here comes another one. And it's like, okay, we're going to get back to it after this one. And then it's like, here's another one. And it's like, okay, we're miles away from family. We have 4 kids and I don't get to spend time. I don't get to do the things that normal 30-year-old people that we have, our friends that get to do, and we want to do them. And so we were like, let's just get closer to family, to where if we want to do these things or take these ventures, we can do it. And then, of course, CrossFit started picking up, or not CrossFit, but my weightlifting, my Lift Heavy Often weightlifting seminar started picking up, and I was traveling the world, and I'm like, man, I feel like crap because I'm traveling the world, and even though I'm making money for my family, I'm not with them, and I got to leave my wife at home with 4 kids by herself. And
oh, I bet you heard it when you were away.
Yeah, I got it a few times.
Oh, I get it. Oh, I'm going to get it when I walk back in the house after this show. She comes after me. So, yeah, we're leaving so that we can get back together. You want to plug your seminar? You still going to be doing it after this is over?
Yes, man. I'm about to start pushing some marketing stuff. So as soon as COVID is over, it's the Lift Heavy Often weightlifting seminar. It's on easymuhammad.com. You can subscribe to my online programming on easymuhammad.com, which is bodybuilding, weightlifting, strength, gymnastics, prehab, and CrossFit training. So that's all on easymuhammad.com. The seminars, we're about to do a marketing thing where we're just going to basically, as soon as kind of COVID is released and which it should be because everybody's protesting and doing things. And
I just saw a thing today. That numbers are way up, like just because of this. Though I'm hoping it's not from the protesting.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know what I read anymore. I also read that George Floyd had coronavirus that they found during his autopsy, and I'm like, oh my god, like you couldn't write this into a movie. What's going on right now.
So and then online program, and then we're selling Black Lives Matter T-shirts on my website on easymuhammad.com, just to make donations to Black Lives Matter, so you can support the cause by going on there and getting a T-shirt.
And that's what's easymuhammad.com?
Yep, Easy Muhammad. Letter E, letter Z, MUHAMMAD. easymuhammad.com.
Oh, I'll post that in the show notes too. If you are looking for that, we'll have a link to that. And that's awesome, man. I might actually start following your program, and I need to do some more. I'm wasting away. I still do all my cardio stuff, and my weight. I just don't. I don't do any strength training.
We got a home garage program where it's just one workout a day.
Okay.
Just one workout, just a heavy hitter. It just might be a workout, or it might be a strength, or it might be weightlifting, but it's just one assignment a day, and it'll give you what you need. Work out and get back to it.
I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming on the show, talking to us, and talking to all the listeners out there. And if we opened anyone's eyes or started conditioning people into a different direction, that's what we got to do. We're not going to change the world in one day, but we can start. And I appreciate it. It's a little bit of a different episode that we did, but I think it was necessary. And thanks again. Thanks for doing it. Awesome meeting you. And you got some good kids back there.
Man, thank you, man. Take care, man. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, we'll see you, dude.
Have a good one.
Later. I beat this one to death because I'm starting to believe it's the best food in the whole world. It sounds crazy, and I know these are like frozen meals that you get up and you reheat in the microwave. I'm sitting there eating. The other day I had the chicken with dumplings, and I'm eating it, And I'm just looking at my wife and I'm going, I don't know how they do this. I do not know how they do this. And I'm eating the dumpling. It's like the doughiest like thing in the world. I'm like, oh, this has got to be like 1 billion calories and so unhealthy. And then I look at all the ingredients. It's like gluten-free dough. Like if you read the ingredients, they're so simple. It's like salt, pepper, olive oil, paprika, sage, and then chicken. And you're like, how? I use all those ingredients when I cook. How do they make the best food I've ever eaten? Like, I'm not kidding. If you said to me, hey, you can go out to Jean Georges in New York City and dinner's paid for, you're going to get a $500 meal. You can go to French Laundry up there in the wine country above San Francisco, or you can have an Eat the 80. I'm like, I'll have an Eat the 80 because I know what's in it. I know how healthy it is. And it's the most delicious food ever. I'm screaming at you people right now because you have to go buy this. My wife got it for her grandparents, and her grandparents never call. Her grandfather calls the other day, so we think something's wrong with her grandmother. She's like, oh my God, my grandfather called. Oh, I'm so worried, with COVID and everything. And he's like, hey, how do I get more of those meals? So we've got like her 80-year-old grandfather, or 84, 85, Eat the 80. It's amazing. I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's 100% gluten-free. They've got Whole30 options, vegetarian, keto, macro balance. Takes 2.5-3 minutes. Heat up in the microwave. All the animal proteins, ethically sourced. Their kitchen is the cleanest kitchen anywhere. They follow all local, state, federal laws above and beyond. Everything's vacuum sealed for freshness. And they do a great thing. They have a partner program for gym owners and the trainers. So, like, if you want to get your clients eating it, they will give you back. Like, if you sign up your clients, you're going to get a 10% reward on every client, and they put it towards food for you. I got a package in the mail the other day. It comes in a box, with the like ice pack to make it all still cold. I threw it in the refrigerator because I didn't put any in the freezer. I knew I was going to eat like 2 of them a day, at least. Some of them are like 750 calories. I'm just wolfing these things down. So go and register, and please support them because I want them to keep sending me food. I love it so much. They need you to contact them. If you want to get the trainer thing or you want to get the credit, you got to register as partners at info@eatthe80.com. That's info@eatthe80.com. That's if you want to get your clients eating clean with them and getting a bonus yourself. If you want for yourself to order, just anybody out there, you want to order, you got a special coupon code, WAD40. Okay, WAD40, and this is for all of you listeners. Remember, I want you to support them because I love it so much. WAD40, special sign-up offer. First 2 orders, you're going to get $20 off the first 2. So that's a total of $40 off. And so do the WAD40 at eatthe80.com. Eat the 80, the number 80, eatthe80.com. I'm just going to start calling it the eatthe80.com. God, I could talk about it forever. I love it so much. The chicken and dumplings and the Asian meatballs were just, oh my God. If there's one mineral you should be worried about not getting enough of, it's magnesium. Magnesium is the body's master mineral. Powerful, over 300 critical reactions, including detoxification, fat metabolism, energy, even digestion is influenced by the presence of magnesium. There's 2 big problems here. Magnesium has been largely missing from the U.S. soil since the 1950s, which explains why it's estimated that up to 80% of the population may be deficient. And most supplements contain only 1 to 2 forms of magnesium, when in reality, there are at least 7 that your body needs and benefits from. That's why I'm so excited to tell you about a new magnesium product I've been taking called Magnesium Breakthrough. It's the ultimate magnesium supplement, easily the best I've ever seen or experienced. I mean, with all 7 forms of this mineral. I'm even more excited because it's finally back in stock. Magnesium Breakthrough has been selling faster than the company who makes it. Bioptimizers has been able to keep up with. It's already sold out a few times, and due to supply shortages with everything going on in the world, it could very well be sold out again shortly. The Wadcast podcast team was able to arrange for some stock to be set aside just for our audience, and I guarantee it's the best deal available on this product. Seriously, with volume discounts combined with our customer 10% coupon code WAD10, that's capital W O D 10, capital W, capital O, capital D 10, you can save up to 40% off select packages of Magnesium Breakthrough. That's an amazing value. And I promise this deal only is available on this specific website, www.magbreakthrough.com/wadcast. That's www.magbreakthrough.com/wadcast. You won't find that deal on Amazon or even the company's own website. This deal is exclusively for podcast listeners, and it's legitimately for a limited time while supplies last. They've also completely revamped their checkout process, and it's much friendlier and easy. Magnesium Breakthrough is the most effective magnesium supplement I've ever tried. Say goodbye to having to buy 7 different bottles of magnesiums to get the complete dose. Go to www.magbreakthrough.com/wadcast and use coupon code WAD10, all caps, to save up to 40% off select packages to get the most full spectrum and effective magnesium product ever. So it's your lucky day. I am going to tag on the other episode that I did this week because you deserve it. And it was awesome. I got to talk to one of the owners of a company I work with. I found this platform online, and I was like, oh, my God, this is amazing. And it's a company called MacroStacks. And I was having all kinds of trouble with my diet and just off. And the next thing I know, I start using this app. It's like a web-based app, and it just got everything together for me, and I loved it. And then I found out that the owner, I was like, who did this? And they seem to know CrossFit so well. And it turns out the owner, Lindsey Jenks, is a amazing, badass CrossFitter herself, and owned a gym, regional athlete, awesome. And so I want to talk to her. Before I do, though, I want to talk to you about O2, because another sponsor of ours that's just done something so cool for the CrossFit world. They have a thing called Stay for May. You can look it up by hashtag Stay for May on social media. Stay for May, like the month of May. I don't know if you know about this, but this is for gym owners. On June 1st, you probably received an email with instructions on how to distribute the combined $100 gift card that's brought to you by O2, Born Primitive, Peoria, and Bear Complex to all of your members who kept their memberships active in the month of May. And this is part of the Stay for May campaign, hashtag Stay for May campaign. Basically, they want to reward the loyalty of any of your members that stayed. If they stayed, they're going to give them a $100 gift card. So you as a gym owner walk into the gym and go, hey, congratulations. Thanks for helping us out. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for staying with us. Thanks for being loyal. Here's $100. It's a gift card to all these companies. O2, Born Primitive, Peoria, Bear Complex, all really solid. And if you want to find out if you're gym qualified, just email stayformay@drinko2.com. That's Stay for May. The offer expires on June 25th, so get a hold of them quickly. That's for O2, Born Primitive, Peoria, and Bear Complex, and they're going to reward your members for their loyalty. And you guys reward O2 for doing this, because not only is it an awesome recovery drink, it's super healthy, helps you out, it's oxygenated. I could go on forever. It's delicious, tastes great. And some of them have caffeine, some don't. It's got everything you need. So check them out. Support them. They supported CrossFit. The owner's a CrossFitter. So help them out, guys. That's check out the Stay for May at drinko2.com. And now let's hear from Lindsey. So I'm talking right now with Lindsey Jenks. I love that name. Who I'm using one of her products, and I use it because I think I know so much about nutrition, but I'm an idiot. I'm a moron, and I've made so many mistakes. And thanks to MacroStacks, which I've used and I've told all of you to use, I found out so many things that I didn't realize. But there's so much I didn't realize about Lindsey Jenks, which is, one, she's a badass CrossFitter. I mean, like, really bad. And like, I'm looking at you right now. You do not look like your typical CrossFitter either. Like some of these women now that are CrossFitters look like, I mean, I'm terrified of them. I look at some of these women, I'm like, you have the body that I want.
There's some impressive women out there,
and I love it too. I'm very proud of them, and I always use them as an example to people when they're like, "Oh, women can't do this," or "Women can't do that." I'm like, excuse me, I will take you to see a whole group of women who can do anything you can do better than you can do it, dude.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but anything, like, and take it out, probably outside of the realm of sports too, and they'll beat you in everything because they're just really good at what they do. But you are really good at what you do. Can you talk to me a little bit about, like, MacroStacks is really good for CrossFitters, because I think a lot of us fell into the trap of the keto thing. And, we got to really eat our fat. You eat more fat and protein. And that's what I did. I was like, okay, as long as I'm eating fat and protein, it's fine. And every single day I was going over calories.
Yeah. So basically I tried, every quote diet under the sun, and it wasn't just for, looks wise, but it was also to train and compete. And it was just a fine balance because you didn't really want to eat a lot because you're scared of gaining weight. I know some of us, struggled with that mentality. But you also don't want to undereat because then you're not going to be able to perform and PR and make gains. So anyways, call it like 5 years of paleo, which I still think is, a great kind of baseline for at least food choices. But once I started counting macros, I mean, I was a little hesitant because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like over 2,000 calories and, over 200 carbs. And it kept increasing from there. And I was like, I'm going to gain weight and this is going to be so scary. But anyways, it basically from there, like, just totally changed my life because I didn't realize how much you needed to be eating and fueling, in order to recover properly, in order to get lean. I got so much leaner once I started counting macros, and I was PRing. So it was like the strongest I'd ever been at the lightest weight I've ever been. And it was just kind of like, magical from there. I'm like, man, where has this been my whole life? So I used to fear carbs, and you really don't need to, as long as you're eating the proper amount of carbs, protein, and fat for your body and not, eating too much or too little of one thing, then your body just works so much better.
Yeah, I was doing way too much fat, and a million people had told me, like nutritionists that I'd had on the show, and Stan Efferding, my buddy Dylan, they were like, you need more protein. And I was like, I get tons of protein. And then when I started entering everything into MacroStacks, I was like, oh my God, I am so under-proteined. But it's just your mindset is, I guess you're conditioned this way to not, even if you work out a lot, is to not eat. Like, it's a tremendous amount of protein. Like, I was getting so much from my fat and I was eating very little carbohydrates. But to build muscle, I needed more protein. So I don't like to supplement, but I supplement whey now. I do whey protein because I need it. And it's like, I'm not going to be able to eat that much meat in a day. So, so it was really good because they were like, if you're going to train the way you train and you're going to try to you need to repair your muscles and you need to eat way more protein. And, so it's awesome because it got me on track. I mean, like, some people think, well, I don't want to do this every day. Do it for 2 weeks, do it for 3 weeks, do it for a month, whatever you do it for. In 3 days, you're going to go, oh my God, I had no idea. So that's what happened to me. I was just like, I'm over caloried every single day. And it's just because I eat 10 pounds of nuts a day. And I was like,
right,
I got to stop eating all these nuts. It's just like, it's not doing what I need it to do.
Right.
So how did you develop it? Like, what happened? Why did you decide to do this and make this site?
Yeah. So once, I mean, I was owning, I had co-owned a CrossFit gym with my husband, and we were, in that world for a while in Orlando. And I went to regionals a few times and just started counting macros, and like that started to improve my physique as well as performance. And I'm like, I need to share this with the world. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've had like 5 or 6 businesses. Like, I just really like get passionate about things and like have to share them. And I'm like, everybody needs this, like, especially because I just struggled so much with food my whole life. And I'm like, I can't believe I don't have to fear food anymore. Like, it was just revolutionary. And so I started just doing like, one-on-one consulting, if you will, to try and like just help people like learn what is a macro? How do you count them? And I just really wanted to scale it bigger than that. So, I did well doing that, but you can only reach hundreds of people, not thousands or millions. So I was like, and my husband's into software, and so we're kind of a software nerd family. And I was like, let's just automate most of what I'm doing, on the one-on-one basis, but still keep like a chat. So we still have Stacks Chat in the app, which is where you talk to coaches. And
wait,
so
what did you call it?
Stacks Chat.
I thought you said sex chat, and I was like, what has this turned into? What? I didn't know about this function.
This
Where's
would be
this?
a much more fun conversation if that's what I said.
I was like, do I find out how much carbs and protein and fat I'm eating, and then I just head over and talk some sex?
Oh man, yeah. So, anyways, that chat feature, Stacks Chat, is where kind of the coaches live.
Got it.
And so people can still talk to somebody, a real person, and, get that one-on-one if they want. But otherwise, we're just giving them, this plan, to help them reach their goals. But then what's different about Macro Stacks that's not really on the market anywhere else is, the number one question we got as coaches was, how do I hit my macros? And I'm like, there has to be a way to automate this. So we built this algorithm that essentially, all these recipes created by our dietitian will auto calculate to each individual person. So we're actually telling you exactly how much to make, how much to eat, and then we'll hit your macros for you as long as you just eat the food, prepare and eat it. And some of it's like ready to make and stuff. So that's kind of our differentiator. We're trying to say like, we want to make this really easy for you guys and take the guesswork out. So
I've got to be honest. I have not tried any of your recipes yet. One, because I'm a terrible cook. My wife is excellent, but I don't do much cooking. But I guess I can make her do it. She just does her, like her typical. These are her meals that she makes, and for me to go in there and be like, can you make this for me tonight? She'd be like, what else do you want me to do for you? I take care of your 2 children. I take care of your books. I take care of you. And I'll be like, can you please? But I want to. And I like the idea that then I don't have to punch everything in. And then I just know, because I would love to know percentage wise, just every meal. I try to eyeball a lot of stuff. And then that's why I liked your app there. I have to mention to people too that it's not an app. It's like a website, and you can download it to your phone, that it goes right up. So I use it. I have it on my front page, just like an app. So I just open it up and then I just start punching. And it's fun for me because I like to nerd out and like go into there and just find out. And I'm like, I wonder how I did today. And then I'm like, oh, I'm a pig. But it's, I would like to get even lazier. I'd like to use your recipes and just go, oh, I need this percentage, and I got it. I know I got it. I just ate these meals today and I'm done.
Yeah, and sometimes the word recipe kind of intimidates people, but we have what we call meal ideas in there. And so it will actually just have chicken, rice, and broccoli or something, these like common meals that people eat. And we'll just auto calculate it. So maybe that's something your wife's cooking, or if you generally have like a lean meat, a vegetable, and a starch, then like we'll portion that for you. Or there will be things like, RX bars, a banana, and a protein shake. So it's like ready to go for people who are like, oh, I'm intimidated by cooking. So even though we say recipes, there's a lot of like non-cook ideas or just kind of like things that you can kind of throw together, or maybe that you're already making.
And I want to say these are all based on your body type too. Like if you're like a high carb athlete or a keto athlete, you have it built for that, right?
We don't actually have keto, but we have, I guess you could consider it everything else.
Okay. Why not? Well, I'm just curious. Why not keto?
Yeah. So when I designed it, it was based on like kind of my beliefs and like what I, think works. And so it may be something that we open up in the future if we become just more of a platform for people to, use whatever macros they want to. But for now, like it was just more of like a business call. Like anybody who's like a macro stacker, they're like, love it. And, they buy into it. And so everybody's kind of following the same plan. So it would just be a business kind of shift if we decided to go that route.
So with your kind of template, what do you think is optimal when it comes to protein, fat, carbohydrates, especially for a CrossFitter?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on the person and their age and height and weight and activity levels and body type and goals. So it's hard to kind of generalize.
Right.
We really do take in all of those things into consideration. It took us quite a while to kind of make it into a formula. But I would say somewhere around, call it 28%, 25 to 30% fat, 30-ish percent protein and like 40 to 45-ish percent carbs.
Yeah. Carbs have become a bad word out there in the weird nutrition world or exercise world, but I mean, like I'm back to them, and I just feel like I don't have any energy if I don't have them, and I use them, and I use good carbs, and I still use some starches, like sweet potatoes and rice, and I just, too many athlete friends of mine were like, no, you have to have them. Like, I don't know if you're gonna exercise, you need them. Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Try the keto.
I know. I didn't buy into it and for a while, and then now I'm sold for life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I can eat carbs and look awesome and perform better, like why wouldn't I? So
yeah, I think it's everything in moderation. It sounds like macro stacks. That's what you guys do. Is a lot like something like what was it? What was the one that was really popular for a while? It was the beginning of CrossFit. The where they
Zone Diet.
Zone Diet. Yeah, back before they got into paleo. But I love that you said that. Like, paleo is a template. The whole idea of just like, don't use processed foods. Why not?
Definitely.
People go, oh, you eat the paleo diet. I'm like, well, you can eat any diet and be paleo. Just apply that to it.
Yeah, no, that's a good observation. That's kind of, like what we like to go with is whole foods as much as you can, but of course, I think the 80-20 rule can apply with nutrition, or maybe 90-10, but, whole foods as much as you possibly can, and then have a little bit fun, other than that, as long as it's still kind of fitting into your day. We don't really believe in cheats at Macro Stacks. It's kind of, we call them fun foods, fit them in, make it work into your plan, and you don't have to feel guilty about it,
Yeah. So are you still doing CrossFit yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. And but you don't own a gym any longer?
No, we sold our gym in Florida and then moved to Boulder, Colorado. That's where I am now.
Oh, nice.
To kind of start these fitness, entrepreneurial, nutrition businesses. It's a very, very, very fit town and startup friendly. Yeah. So I go to a CrossFit gym here. That's awesome.
What do you like better, Florida or Boulder?
Gosh, that's hard. I'm such a Florida girl that I really love Florida, but Boulder, I mean, there is nothing. It's like Boulder bubble. I mean, just so everybody's here is fit and into, health and nutrition, and they're outside and riding bikes and just kind of everything that you dream about. The mountains, and the weather's mild, snowboarding.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool spot.
It's a pretty awesome spot. My buddy was just living there for a while. He's back here in Malibu, but, I you just shrug it off like, oh yeah, and I went to a couple regionals. It's pretty impressive. I was like, somehow I Googled something about you, and I was like, oh my God, you did like a 2-something Fran. And I'm like, oh my God, she's a freak.
I was, that was my job. I loved it so much. And I'm kind of like a 0 to 100 person. So I just kind of only have 2 speeds.
What was your sport before CrossFit?
A lot, really. I mean, I did cross country, soccer, basketball, and track pretty religiously. So I never had a off moment. I mean, since I can remember.
But that's funny. I don't see a lot of CrossFit women from a running background. It's usually gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to school for exercise physiology. And so I was a strength coach there. And so that was helpful because I got to work out like with the University of Florida athletes and kind of work under their strength and conditioning staff. And I built a lot of strength during those times too.
What school was that?
University of Florida, the Gators.
Wow. Is that where you went to school also?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I've been there. I've performed there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I've done a show there. I can't remember. I ended up drunk in the bushes, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. After my show, the students were like, "Hey, you got to go out with us," and I was like, "I'm an old man. Where are we going?" And I ended up at like
That's
some
fun.
college bars. Yeah, and then I didn't make it to my hotel room. But speaking of like CrossFit and nutrition and everything, and you being in this world and knowing this world and knowing it really well from your business, what would you say is like the biggest mistake CrossFitters are making with their nutrition?
Probably under eating or just fearing. I mean, my first thought is fearing carbs or fearing food. So they're just not eating enough. And even people who don't struggle, like call it struggle with carbs or anything, they're just, I mean, like I know a lot of guys who are great athletes, but they don't eat a lot because they're training or they don't feel like it or it costs a lot, you know? So I think there's a lot of different pockets of people where they're not really fueling themselves with the right types of food. Like they might be eating enough fat, but like, you know, they're not eating enough protein and carbs as well. So yeah, I would say, especially with most of our people who come through the door at Macro Stacks, they're just under eating.
My friend, Crazy Bobby, that's always on this show, he's built like the perfect human. He doesn't eat. He eats all the time. Like I've never seen anyone eat as much as him. But if he can't eat, like if he can't get near food, he shovels down amino acids. Like he just shovels them down. And he's like, I can't, I need a meal and I can't have a meal and I'm late. I got to, and he'll just like, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you got to take more of these. And it scares the shit out of me. He's like, no, it's the best thing you can do for yourself.
I know it is. It's crazy.
He's been trying for like 3 years for me to get on them, but they're like horse pills. They're like so hard to swallow, and I don't know. I'll get around to it. But I had a couple more questions for you. One, especially like you'll know this better than anyone, I think, and maybe you can answer it. Whenever I use like anything counting calories or counting, you know, grams of protein or fat or carbs, whatever, counting my macros, what I worry about is like when you're adding in all these things, like if you use, like you guys have like every single...
Hey.
Don't worry. People are going to blame me. My dogs bark during the show all the time. That won't be you. You just gave it away that it was that was not my dog this time. Anyway, sometimes you just like grab like a hunk of ground meat and you're like, I don't know how much looks like a quarter pound or a third a pound or a half of a, I don't know. And then you go, I don't know how many, you know, when you eat a bunch of crackers or something, you're like, I don't know how many I ate. Did I eat 20 or so? When it like gets to that point where you're just estimating and you're going, I think I had 20 crackers and I had a half a pound of ground beef. Is that throwing this off that much? Like, could that be your problem? Like, you're not weighing your food and you're not being super critical and super accurate. Or do you have to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it just depends on your goals. So if somebody's coming from, you know, never counting anything and they're doing estimations, then they're probably going to see results because it's better than what they were doing before. If you're somebody who's been estimating for a while and, you know, ballparking, and you're probably not totally right because you haven't ever measured and you really want to take it to the next level, then the best thing to do is just make sure that you're accurately tracking your food. Otherwise, you're just going to probably be in that limbo because you're kind of guessing. So it just depends on what journey you're on and like how strict you need to be. Like are you trying to lose body fat or are you just trying to perform better? Because a lot of athletes don't need to be meticulous, like down to every single gram, as long as they're eating enough. That's kind of like, you know, the biggest thing. If somebody's really trying to lose body fat to feel better about themselves or whatever the case is, then, you know, they can start off a little bit more casual, but I would say, you know, fine tuning at some point is probably pretty.
And do you guys take into effect, because on the show, we've gone to Body Spec and had people get like body scans where we scan their whole body. And one of the things I've never done that I'd like to do is the basal metabolic rate. Is that what it is? Where what you're like resting, how much you actually burn. So I often wonder, because most people would be different, you know, how much they're burning, like how their metabolism is. So what I'm getting at is, doesn't that throw a little wrench into it for you when you have, like, say, if I do a workout and Rich Froning does a workout, he's going to burn a lot more calories than I'm going to burn, correct? Because, or maybe he's not, because he's so much more efficient than I am. I mean, that's where I like get into when I do all this math, because I get so into it where I'm like, okay, I just did 22 minutes of this, and now I can eat another burger, and I can have this. Okay, now I have to stop. And I think that's why I love the whole idea of like you guys having this community where you go into it and you go, help me with this. Just show me what to eat. I'm just going to eat that, and then I'm going to go do my workouts, because it's like having a trainer, just like a gym. I want you to tell me what to do, and I feel like that's what MacroStacks does. You're like, here, shut up and do what I tell you, and you'll do well.
That's our goal, is we kind of tell you what, when, and how much to eat. So that's our slogan, because most people just don't want to be thinking about it or doing math or figuring out, you know, oh, I worked out, so now I can eat such and such, and guessing. And it's just, so we're like, don't worry, sit back, let us do the work.
All right. Well, I've been sending everyone to it. I swear by it. I think it's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, Lindsey, it's so nice meeting you too. And I'm glad you could do the show.
Me too.
Because I think everybody really, especially, not just CrossFitters and not just people, like the whole country. I mean, we've got just a mess of people out there. And we're dealing right now with COVID-19, and everybody's lives have been ruined by this. But you don't realize a lot of people out there, a lot of people brought it on themselves. And I'm not saying like you brought this disease on, but you brought these situations like diabetes and heart disease and obesity that have compounded with this. And it, like, nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about, how are we going to cure this? How are we going to develop another pill or an immunization or a vaccine? What about becoming healthier people so that viruses can't attack us and do as well? And so, you know, what you do is a great thing, and I appreciate it. And I think everybody out there should use it. So
awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Anyone can find us on Instagram or macrostacks.com, or really YouTube or any social platform. But I appreciate your support, and I agree we need to get this world a little bit healthiher. Yeah, I can't wait to get into your sex chat. It's what's that? That's the Stacks chat. But so check them out at MacroStacks. And Lindsey, thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Okay.